The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
Deep right, we got extra up there. Let's follow a range on deep right. I'm doing out right on the target right now. I've got a couple of these right in front of me. I'm going out for it. Right, I got him.
Welcome back to the Lead Pursuit Podcast. Tonight, we're going to preview Adepticon 2025. And I realize that's a shocker for you that we're going to start talking about Adepticon this early, but it really isn't that early. So tonight, we're joined by Mike Rafferty and Don Ayers, my two favorite Adepticon staffers. Sorry to the rest of the Adepticon staff. Mike, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. A little bit better now since you said that.
Don, how are you doing? I really don't like you as much as I said. I'm just having to fluff you because you're there next to Mike.
Well, I don't know how to feel after that wonderful intro and now being let down like this. So I'll let you know later.
Oh no, I have to bust you guys because it's always fun to hang out with you. At Adepticon, it's a great time. Well, until Mike decides to eat gas station sushi. Then
I had sushi today, ironically.
He did.
See, you just haven't learned.
No.
No.
But no, it's good to hang out with you guys, and especially to catch up and going through the planning for Adepticon 2025 the last couple weeks, months. Seems like quite a while now. It's been pretty cool. So not just me on the podcast. I'm also joined by Steve. Steve, what are you doing up there in Pennsylvania besides making homemade guns and trying to shoot CEOs of insurance companies?
No, that's not true. Not insurance. There's way worse companies than them.
He fled to your state.
He did, man.
It's from your state.
We were all rooting for him. He gave it the old college try,
Yeah, the college try, not so. Oh, all right. Well, let's get on with the important stuff. So we are going to talk about Adepticon, but before we do that, the shameless plug for Steve's Blue Falcon Hobbies Kickstarter. So $40 to pledge to support the Kickstarter. It started off as 8 airplanes, then it was 10 airplanes, and now as of today with another $200 VIP supporter, it's going to go to 11. So we're taking Vietnam aircraft to 11. Yeah, that joke never gets old.
Has he picked a plane
Right.
yet?
No, so that's what we're all waiting to hear is what the 11th airplane is going to be, because we had the RA-5C Vigi got added in there, and we had, I forgot what the other one was, Steve.
Are you serious? The
I've already brain-
F-105 Wild
So
Weasel.
105G. Yeah, the one that I complained about, when are we going to get one of those? Yeah, so 105Gs. So that'll be good. So a lot of cool aircraft in the Kickstarter. $40 to pledge. Get you all the STLs. And then there's obviously going to be a couple more added in. It's 55% funded, 1 weekend. So definitely on track to get funded. And we'll see how many other people pitch in and add aircraft to the whole mix. Steve, anything else you want to throw out about that before we go on?
No, just thanks to any listeners who supported. I'm actually really surprised that it's kind of gotten the backing that it has. It's kind of a niche thing, right? But thanks to all the supporters. Thanks for sharing it. And I hope it gets fully funded so we can get those out there to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, little plastic airplanes or little resin airplanes in this case, are an absolute niche market. But the fact is people like nice models, and your models kick ass. So if you're not going to support the STLs and don't have a 3D printer and want to know where you can get them, yes, another shameless plug, the Lead Pursuit store is also going to have those airplanes. So we got some of them right now. We'll have some of them after the Kickstarter. But rest assured, if you are like me and are too lazy to actually try to 3D print anything yourself, yes, you can go buy the fully printed models.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, it does. Like, that is absolutely how I do business.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have enough hours in the day. I spent today staring at my screen when I wasn't working, but staring at my screen, learning how to use Campaign Cartographer 3. So
Oh, I have that.
running a
I
3D printer.
I could have taught you how to use it.
It's actually kind of cool. Just you got to hack around with it and play with it, and you can do some pretty neat stuff. So hopefully we'll have some cool maps for our Aeronautica Imperialis campaigns and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool tool. All right, so let's jump right into Adepticon 2025, 26 to 30 March, or if you're the Lead Pursuit podcast, then it's that plus a day and a half each side. It will be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Jeez, the land of nothing healthy. I mean, really, Mike, did you guys have to go to Milwaukee? I'm going to be like eating sausage, cheese, beer.
My doctor said I was too healthy, so.
Exactly. Your diet needs to worsen. You need to go somewhere with a worse diet. I didn't think it could get worse than con food in Chicago, but congratulations.
We found
You're
a way.
complaining about sausage and beer and cheese? What? Who complains about that?
Because it's going to take me another month to get my system right after eating that. I'll need a couple margaritas to clear it out.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, you just got to eat the hotel fish the last night.
Yeah.
You're good.
You're good. That'll clear you right out. Yeah, we're not going to let you have any fish the whole time you're there. You're off the fish diet.
got
That would be
right.
wise because Jesus.
We don't want to revisit that again. Not at all. But let's hop into the food. So before we talk about the gaming piece of it, let's talk about the food there in Wisconsin. I mean, I'm going to be skeptical and be like, there's no good food around the con venue. It's going to be terrible. But I know you guys have been doing profiles of some of the restaurants on the Adepticon page. And I know you even did a little bit of a recon over there yourself, Mike. So what did you find?
So I've been to Milwaukee a grand total of one time now. So,
well, that's one more time than me. I've flown in and flown out.
Yep,
so.
I speak third most Italian. So, food overall, really solid. Had a sports bar. It's sports bar food. Can't complain. Big thing is there's this restaurant called Mater's. It is a old school German restaurant. They make everything from scratch. Recipes older than our country, all that kind of stuff. It's been around for like 100 years. That is like 3 blocks away. Quick walking distance. You probably pass 20 bars getting there. Excellent food, excellent drinks.
I don't think Mike knows me very well. He's assuming I'm going to be able to pass 20 bars on my way to actually eat dinner.
Well, see, the trick was we went there and then you hit the place.
Then you
coming
stagger back and hit the bars. Yeah,
exactly.
We'll see how well that works out. No, that one sounds good. I'm always up for German food.
And I've never really had German food, so that one just kind of sticks out to me. One of the other places that's pretty interesting, I believe it's called the North Market. It's a couple blocks the other way to the hotel from the convention center. The nice thing about that one is it's one of those enclosed areas, and there's like 20 restaurants there.
Nice. So the American version of a food court.
It's a food court, yes.
Yeah.
it's good. I want to say there's sushi. I don't know. I just remember the sushi part. So there's a good variety of restaurants. There's also going to be a bunch of food options in the convention center itself.
Right.
So one thing we are trying to remember, people, it is a cashless venue.
Right.
So I feel we're mostly going that way anyway, but this one is cashless. From what I understand, they kind of rotate through a bunch of different food trucks each day. So
nice.
It'll be kind of like if you've been at the Marriott the last few years. Oh, we have this for lunch or this, but just with a variety of different food trucks.
And I'm sure it'll all be healthy con food, right?
Yeah.
Nice, no grease pizza, chicken tenders that are crispy and not soaked in lard. Yeah. Whew, con food.
Who would eat that though? Who would eat that?
Well, I eat that stuff because I'm always I'm late for a game. I fill my schedule too full, don't leave time to go eat, and I got to grab the con food.
Dude, I have to confess.
Don't judge me.
The first time I visited my sister in Wisconsin and they were talking about cheese curds, I thought it was going to be like cottage cheese type thing like that. I had no idea. It was just what they call mozzarella sticks and they're shaped like balls. So hey man.
I'm the same as you. My wife's from Wisconsin. So when I was dating her, I'd have to go up there to see her, and they talked about cheese curds, and I had no idea what they were talking about. But yeah, they're not bad. They're all right.
What's wrong with you people?
Man.
Honestly, I didn't know what it is until I went to Culver's maybe a decade ago and got some.
Yeah,
hey, man.
So also, speaking of cheese, as you drive, if you're coming up from Chicago, there's all these signs for, like the Cheese Palace. And you think it'd be like super cool, like holy crap, Cheese Palace, and it's shaped like a castle and everything. From what I understand, it's not that cool. We actually get in, but Cheese Palace,
cheese,
that sounds awesome.
So
It's like the Wisconsin version of what's that place called? South of the border, kind of?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we still got to stop
Everyone
there.
loved south of the border.
It's a cheese palace.
And
You
there's
have to
Quick Trip.
stop.
Yeah, I just remember that when I would fly into Wisconsin to go to Oshkosh for the air show up there, just stopping and hitting any gas station along the way, it was worse food options than anything that I'd get in like a southern gas station where I might get, pork rinds. I'm like, oh my God, it's cheese and sausage and yeah. So
Cheese fried sausage.
Yeah, cheese fried sausage. Yeah, sausage with cheese.
Heart attack on a plate,
No,
man.
I love Wisconsin for the food options, but my body doesn't. My waistline doesn't. So
Yeah,
well,
I just gave up on that years ago. So
yeah, well, yeah, I haven't yet. Well, food isn't the only reason we're going there. I guess we're actually going to game a little bit, but let's talk. Okay, I'm gonna act like I'm gaming. Let's talk about one of the other drama-inducing topics and get it out of the way fast. Hotels and hotel availability. So it's always been a drama for Schaumburg and that setup for affiliated hotels and those things selling out. But if you're like the Lead Pursuit podcast before we became big and famous and got adopted by Adepticon as our historical podcasters, back when we used to be trying to find hotel rooms all over the place, we just had to admit that we're going to drive to the venue. Little bit different setup there in Milwaukee. What's it looking like now for hotel rooms?
So on the plus side, you probably won't have to drive to the venue because there's so many hotels, within like a block or two walking distance.
Right.
So bonus there. The funny part is, I want to say between the Hyatt and the Marriott, we had roughly 800 room nights.
Right.
Last year, we went up to 1,400, just like in the initial block of a couple hotels. So it sold out in like 4 minutes instead of 2 minutes.
Oh, awesome.
And we keep adding more hotels. Like the Hilton Garden should be going live if it hasn't already pretty soon. And, we just keep moving these out, which is awesome. I'm happy people want to come. It's just, it's like at some point get to a point where it's we have so much demand. We can't physically find enough hotel spaces.
Right. Yeah. And that's the problem of, good events like Adepticon. And we talked about it last year when the change of venue was announced that you become a victim of your own success. You're growing and now you have to find somewhere that not just has space for all of the games, but for all of the gamers. Then
you also got to balance, hey, maybe this place, has 5,000 hotel rooms, but it's set up for like corporate events. So everything is super expensive. Right. Maybe it's not laid out the way you want it to. One nice thing about Milwaukee is this whole place just got remodeled within the last year. Right. So, we're walking to a new place that's looks really nice. A lot of hotels there compared to other venues where it's like, maybe there's more hotels, but costs are way more. It's older, or it's just geared towards a different clientele than what we do. Right.
Stinky gamers who don't want to pay a lot of money and sleep 4 to a room. That's the clientele that we have.
Exactly.
It's all right. We know who we are. I think the hotel situation is going to be fairly good. There are going to be people who are going to travel further out, but I think there's still going to be, at least in the near term, there's rooms opening up within a close distance. So
correct.
Yes, those will sell out, but you guys have been doing your level best to keep writing contracts and keep, opening up blocks of rooms in other places.
Well, and that's one of the nice things, the gentleman that takes care of all that, like he is actively trying to get more hotel rooms. Like he's constantly signing new contracts. Oh, hey, we signed a contract for 200 rooms, still sold out. Great. Can we get more on this? And it's something that we're trying to keep growing because, when you make a room commitment saying, hey, we're going to sell X amount of rooms, there's stiff penalties if you don't.
Oh, yeah. If you don't. Yeah. Trust me. I've seen that for events that hurts. That's a lot of money you got to eat. Yeah.
So you got to balance that. But, we keep adding. We keep doing what we can on that.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I think we assigned Don a room in the hotel furthest from the venue. I mean, I think that's the first step.
It's in the river.
Oh, okay. Perfect. In a van down by the river.
I can swim.
Sorry, Don. Really, we love you.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it.
No, so that does beg the question. Historicals, are we going to have our, as we call it, Historicals admin, our chance to come by and harass you and all the guys in the room and hang out a little bit?
I actually just found out tonight that yes, I will actually have a suite. So
Nice.
Yeah, no, we'll still have our command center like we have.
Perfect.
The only
That'll be good.
downside is it won't be right next to the convention space like it has been the last couple years. So that's a bit annoying.
Yeah, we can't stagger from one room to the other, but
It's
that's
like
all
a
right.
quarter mile walk instead of 20 feet, 30 feet.
We knew
all
you
right.
wouldn't walk
That's
that
fine.
far.
You're doing it just to deter Steve and I from coming over to see you guys. you
or
know.
me apparently from.
Yes. That's a way to reduce our
Mike will be
sniveling
sleeping
input.
behind the flames of war tables.
I already got my bed set up, so we're good.
Awesome. All right. So the other drama that people always tend to freak out about, it seems like, and trust me, I understand why, because Schaumburg, it's been a disaster a couple times. It seems like every time you crack the nut on parking, somebody decides to do construction and or blocks off half of the parking lot or puts a building in or parks 4 18-wheelers in it. Parking for the new venue, how's that all shaking out?
So it is a nice downtown area. Like, it is designed for events. They have basketball games, baseball games, stuff like that. So there's a lot of parking garages around there and different lots and things like that. Now, the downside is, compared to a venue like Schaumburg, it's not just
Right.
here's a parking lot you can park for free. There's costs
Right.
associated.
Hello, you're downtown. It's going to cost. Yeah.
Right. The flip side is, much like with the hotel rooms, we are actively working with the city and their organizations and the parking ones to try to get deals on that. We should
Right.
have some announcements about that, within the next week or two. But it is looking like we're going to have some if you are very concerned that parking is going to ruin your con because you got to spend thousands of dollars, we will have some very budget-friendly options.
Yeah. Well, and I think I don't say this to throw spears at people who try to save money when they go to cons, because
Sure.
trust me, it can become stupid expensive really fast. But there's kind of things you got to pick or choose on, and if you're going to go to an event that is now the size of Adepticon 2025 and it's in an urban area, you just got to put money aside for parking. And it sucks, because it's like a lot of other events that are cool to go to that you're like, yeah, how much are my tickets to the game? Oh wait, how much are my tickets for parking to go enjoy my tickets to the game? It's a sunk cost. So
It is.
plan for it early. It just sucks.
I got into some of these discussions with people when it first came up, and it's like, oh, well, now because of parking, I can't afford to go or something. Or I now have to buy a hotel room night. And my point is, when I even went as a poor college student, I still brought several $100s back in the day when several $100s actually bought something.
Now it buys one box of Space Marines from GW.
I mean, this
Congratulations.
one stand of flames I'm painting was more than my whole budget. But
Yeah.
it's, I get money's tight for a lot of people, things like that. If you want to go, you're going to find a way. And it's not like we're just like, oh, we're going to make this super expensive because we hate people and everything. We are actively
I thought
trying.
that was the plan. We're trying to reduce the number of people that go to
Well, that's my
Adepticon,
plan,
not increase
but
it.
yeah, the powers that
Doesn't
be
work that
actually
way.
like
Yeah.
attendees and want
It's
this to happen.
weird.
But it's
They
what
like
we
the
are
event to grow.
actively trying to make this as cheap as possible.
Right.
One of the advantages of Adepticon at Schaumburg was legitimately, if you wanted to come, you could spend $0.
Right.
You might be sleeping in your car, you may not have a badge, you're just kind of hanging out, but in theory, you
Yeah,
could
you
spend
could.
$0. That's
Yeah.
not possible now. But unlike an event like, let's say, Gen Con, that people seem to have no problem going to and finding their way to pay Indianapolis's absurd parking prices, we are actively trying to make this as affordable as possible.
Right. Well, and I appreciate that. I think that's a trade-off, because it always causes you to have larger numbers, more kind of pre-bid with the city and things like that to be able to bargain
Yes.
and say, hey, that's your prices, because we're going to fill the garage instead of it's going to be 7 gamers here to play Napoleonics.
Correct. And
so
I will say, so far, while I have not been personally involved in those dealings, the people that I know that have, the city of Milwaukee and their Chamber of Commerce and Visit Milwaukee and all that stuff, have been incredibly accommodating. You get the feeling that they are happy to have us there.
of course, because other than Adepticon, why would you go to Milwaukee?
Sure.
I don't know. I'm sure I'll love Milwaukee when I get there. I hated Schaumburg the first time I went, so I'm sure I'll be like, oh, this sucks. This is Milwaukee. And then I'll
The
actually love
downside
it.
is we finally found an awesome cigar shop in Schaumburg. We had the relationships built. We had the hookup. And now it's an hour and a half away or hour away or whatever.
Dude, I got to tell you, I am heartbroken. Absolutely
You are,
heartbroken
Steve.
about Fat
Steve is
Rosie.
losing his favorite part.
Like, I honestly, the staff there, we'll say that, the Boeing 737 with the shot glasses, the indoor fireworks.
So you guys never invited me over there,
through
so.
the fire code. We just
We weren't sure that we should let anyone else see what goes on at Fat Rosie's because it might actually be illegal in after hours.
Yeah, Steve, you never invited us. So guess what? I don't care that you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
Don, I think they figured out the real reason we switched to Milwaukee.
Yeah. It's not the real
Make us
reason,
miserable.
but if I could have, I would have.
Yeah.
I'm lucky, at least, in that my company sends me to a conference at the old Hyatt Hotel once a year. So, I still get to hang out there a little bit.
Yeah. Go see how that is. Reminisce and relive the memories of
Just I
pushing
can
carts
sit in
of
the hall
models
and
around the
listen to
freezing
lectures
cold.
on fiber instead of play games. So,
Yeah, that's not near as much fun.
it is not.
Somehow. Well, no, I think it's going to be it's always going to be a challenge to have a shift. People are going to have to get used to something different, and the drive and a difference in time is going to be a make or break for some people.
Sure.
And I know that it's just a reality. It's unfortunate because you like to see the same crowd come back and enjoy the games year after year, but it's like any event that shifts. It's going to bring some new people in. Hopefully it's going to have much more accommodations, venue, parking, all those things. But we know we're going to lose some people with it too. So hope they find a cool event to do on their side of the lakes.
It's one, hey, if you can't make it this year, hopefully we'll see you in a year or two.
Yeah.
Situation change. And one thing, there was a group of Milwaukee gamers that used to come to Adepticon, then like COVID happened and everything's, they kind of just stopped. You miss 1 year and then, they kind of just never really came back.
Yeah.
But now that we're in Milwaukee, they're showing up in force.
Good.
So it's one, maybe we lose a couple guys around Chicago that don't want to come up for whatever reason. Like you said, we're going to have new crowds that come in, and then hopefully the gamers that aren't coming will see how good it was and give us a chance.
Yeah. Well, and the thing I tell people is, if budget doesn't allow, if time doesn't allow, if time off from work, all those things don't allow, still set aside that time and do something at your local game store. Do whatever, because there's always people that either don't have the budget, they have a family constraint that comes up. There's some reason they can't do Adepticon. And so schedule something for that weekend and do some stuff locally.
Well, I remember back, I want to say this was 2009, a lot of my buddies were going to early Adepticons. I couldn't, poor college student, but we ended up, I think we played D&D basically all weekend with some of the people. We did like a whole campaign in the weekend because we're like, well, all of our buddies are gone. We got nothing to do.
Yeah.
Let's play
Nothing else
this.
to do. Let's just play some D&D.
It was really fun.
No, but that's, I guess kind of my point is, and this is something I've learned with my job and job requirements over time is I just parcel off the end of March every year. I basically say, I'm sorry, you can do whatever you want with me for the rest of the year. I will not complain how many times you send me on a trip, but this time is now sacred. And so, even if I rolled up and couldn't afford to drive up to do all the Lead Pursuit stuff at Adepticon, I would spend that weekend gaming down here and blowing it out and having a good time.
Right. It's, you make
free.
the best of it. And then also you let your work know, hey, no, this time every year is my time.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else is negotiable.
Right.
Except for the end of March. Which means, Steve, are you going to join us for the whole time, or are we going to have to write you a note?
End of March is my time. End of October is my time. June, July, and August are my time. Whatever.
So that's how it works for a teacher. You get a lot of me time, do you?
A lot of me time.
That's handy.
Must be nice. Yeah, I don't. Actually, I can't complain. I do get a lot of comp time, but I get that comp time because I've flown 28 hours to the other side of the world and got stuck in a snowstorm in Korea. So yeah, I earn every hour of that comp time. Okay, well that kind of covers most of the venue things. Don, Mike, anything else either of you want to talk about venue specifically before we talk about schedule? I mean, just like where historicals are going to be, how much room we have, any of that good info?
Cool thing about that is when we were looking at this, we were going to be in the grand ballroom, and all the ballrooms have different names, and we were going to end up sharing. We were going to have to air wall half of it because it's like a 40,000 square foot room, and as much as I tried to, there's no way we could fill that much with historicals.
That's a lot of World of Tanks.
It's a lot. We could play World of Tanks in like 70 millimeter.
1-to-1. Yeah, exactly.
I have been trying to find a tank I could rent for one of these events. I think that'd be cool to have. Total side thing. But, we were going to end up sharing it with a lot of other events because it's a big hall. We need that, for all the events. But we ended up adding the Baird Ballroom, which is on the so the venue is 4 floors.
Right.
And we have all 4 floors now. So Historicals is going to be on the top floor in this nice little pavilion with a really nice glass overview of the city. There's outside walkways to enjoy the lovely Milwaukee March weather.
Yes. Excellent. So the rest of the riffraff will be below us down there.
Yeah.
That's elite historical gamers on the 4th floor.
We will be special up there with our
Can we
cravats.
key card the 40K players out so they can't come up and see us?
We need bouncers.
We do. Velvet rope and bouncers. I nominate Don to be a bouncer. He's intimidating.
He's our commissar.
Yeah.
But it's like 15 to 20,000 square feet. So good improvement over what we've had in previous years. Really should be at least double. And really all the events we have submitted, and looking at the list right now, I believe we're going to have more events than we did last year. So we keep having every year more and more events, which is something I want to see with that. We have more tournaments, and the other thing is there's just a very good variety of events. But like I said, we're actually going to be able to fit everything in. People should be able to have their weird table layouts if they want, or if you, like one particular GM, want 2 15-by-6 tables to refight the entirety of Waterloo. Yeah, we can accommodate that.
We can do that.
Year.
What do you know? Well, the good thing for us is we've got quite a few games going, quite a few different game systems. I do have to ask the question, are you two guys still in to do the Malta gig with us?
Absolutely.
Maybe?
Yeah, I know Don has been planning on running that
I'm
here.
the one doing it. Nobody else.
It's just you. Okay, we're not going to drag Mike.
That's all you need.
Just
one Blood
Don.
Red Skies game, one me. There you go.
Yeah.
So that's on Friday, and I'm encouraging everyone, like in our group here, it's like, hey, take a day for yourself. If you want to play an event, like, go do that. Like, have some fun. Don't just run games the whole time. And depending on what my buddy who runs the vendor hall, how he's free, there should be a Song of Ice and Fire team tournament that day. And we have talked for years about doing the Starks and the Baratheons, and he will dress up as Ned Stark and I will be Fat Robert, and we will just get drunk and play that. So that might be my Friday.
Sounds like a terrible plan. That sounds like a horrible plan. Why would you want to do that?
I'm literally just going to yell Robert quotes at people, and it's going to be amazing.
Man, speaking of fun games, Doug, have you heard the latest evolution of me and Brett's yearly bolt action game?
No, I'm actually afraid to know,
So
because are you going to bring rule books this time? That's my question.
No. It is now officially a 2v2 game with me and Evan versus Brett and Ben.
That's what I was afraid of. You got those poor bastards from Iron Dice Gaming to be suckered in.
It's just going to be a shit-faced night of bolt action.
What did you promise those two? Because they actually know the rules. They actually know how to play the game, and you're going to saddle each of them with an idiot boy who has no idea what they're doing.
Well, nobody knows this year because none of us have read the V3 rulebook yet, so we're all just like winging it.
It's basically the same.
We haven't read it, but we're going to play one game and then just completely bitch about how horrible it is.
Exactly. Like, this game is the worst ever. I've only played it once, but it's terrible. Why would you buy it? Let me go buy some more bolt action stuff. Yeah. Well, and, in case anyone wants to know what our favorite Christmas present is, it is giving you the subscription to the Bolt Action V3 chat rooms. So you can be as miserable as we are listening to Grognards complain about Bolt Action version 3.0.
Have you joined any of the Flames of Water Team Yankee chat rooms recently?
I'm also in them, and it's...
I was having a discussion about airborne tactics yesterday with somebody. as I was trying to explain how maybe Team Yankee is not the crunchy game you want it to be.
If that's what where you're drawing the line in the sand, the hill you're going to die on is it doesn't simulate airborne tactics. Yes, I will agree that.
Well, there's several more hills he's willing to die on. This is one of many.
I just every third day I'll say I see a Facebook message from the Flames of War group, and it's just funny because it's literally a crapshoot, and it's 50%. Hey, I don't know how to do this and model this. What should I do? Or the other one is this is the worst system ever because it doesn't do the one thing that I wanted to model my army on.
Fantasy tanks, 40K, and
like whatever. Like, how about you just pick a force? I'll call it a faction, and I'll be one of those heathens. Pick a faction that is playable and might actually be fun. And then if the game doesn't work for you, you can bitch.
Nope, if I can't field Panzer 470s and units of 4 like this one conf group did for a week and a half in the middle of 1945, this game sucks.
This game sucks. It doesn't do what I wanted to simulate. Yeah. Don, I hear that's you in Team Yankee. Canadians, anyone?
No, I make no secret of the fact that I don't like Team Yankee. But what you'll never see me do is I cannot even imagine going onto a Facebook group and bitching about the game to people who actually like it. What's the point? If you don't like it, don't fucking play it. It's pretty simple. It's as my buddy Ben Chi says, it's the watermelon man syndrome. The people are going to stand there in the middle of a grocery store and go, I am not going to buy this watermelon. This watermelon is the worst watermelon ever. Nobody cares. I'm just buying pasta and sauce. If you're not going to buy the watermelon, just don't buy the fucking watermelon. Jeez. It's stupid. I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah. Well, it's gamers. It's grognards. What is there not to get? Oh, wait a minute. I should have put that in our announcement, and you guys will be happy to know this. About a year and a half late, we will finally be releasing Grognard Rendition Team T-shirts.
Will I have those by Adepticon?
Yes,
well,
they are. The designs are coming out, and so we'll put them in production. This is normally when we produce all of our Adepticon T-shirt stuff anyway. So yes, Grognard Rendition T-shirt.
Sorry to hear that. You missed my window. I've already hand painted.
You've already
some
spent
up.
all your money.
I've already hand painted some up, and
Oh no! I had to laugh that we got that drama out of the way, and then we started to think about the rest of the Adepticon swag. And Steve's like, "Am I doing glasses again? What are we doing on glasses? I don't know." And so we are knee deep in the swag production.
That's
I got your
honestly,
fridge magnet in my fridge still, so
fridge magnets are always popular.
I hate to give you guys kudos for anything, but honestly, that's the thing. One of the things I look forward to the most. Like, what kind of stuff are you guys bringing, and what kind of stuff can I swipe when you're not looking?
So we're taking nominations because Steve and I are on a little bit of a disagreement here. I think we should do an ace glass again, where it has the different lines of how much booze each ace should put in there.
That was really nice. That was the first one.
Yeah, that was the first one, and I'm willing to even open that up to ahistorical aces. So, if you have somebody out of a book
Gabby Gabrowski at the top, and I'd actually buy that one.
Then everyone else going to work their way down. From
Whatever,
there.
Dick Bong, whoever. I'd actually buy that one.
Yeah,
but I know you wouldn't
there
make
you go,
me.
Steve.
So
That's 2 votes for it.
And that's why you're my friend.
Out, who are some movie pilots that were like alcoholics that we could put on there that would just be like funny?
Which ones weren't?
What's the guy's name from Blue Max? Like, wasn't the one dude in Blue Max like a raging alcoholic that we could put on
I got to go back and I got to think about that. You got to put Stringfellow Hawk down at the bottom because I'm sure he was a teetotaler. I'm sure he, he was too classy to have too much booze.
Why do you always have to throw some kind of weird shit in it? Why can't you just have like aces on there? It's got to be.
What's wrong with Airwolf? You saying Airwolf's weird?
Well, why stop with which ones were alcoholics? Why not just have peg leg guys?
Honestly, he might be able to handle his liquor better, and he could store some.
Yeah,
in there.
exactly.
Well,
he can handle the T-forces better.
He got Rudel. He flew with one leg, although I don't think he was an ace.
Didn't some pilot shoot down a drone recently or something, like an F-22? You could put him on there.
It was a woman.
You could put
the woman.
The balloon.
Got a silver star.
The AV-8 Harrier ace that shot down the 5 drones.
Yeah, she got a silver star.
Yeah.
It's ace, but in like quotation marks or something.
Yeah, exactly. Ace, sort of. No, I got to give kudos. So we have an aerial wargaming moment here. I got to give huge kudos to the F-15 Strike Eagle crew that got the silver stars because, okay, it's one thing to coordinate all your wingmen shooting down drones. It's one thing to shoot all of your missiles shooting down drones. Then it's a whole nother thing entirely at night in the middle of this drone swarm to do a split S to roll out behind a couple drones and shoot them with your M61A1 Vulcan cannon. That's ballsy.
That's pretty legit.
That's pretty damn cool. That's legit right there. You're like, all right,
that guy, he's on the list now.
Yeah, he and his Wizzo, they're both on the list. So it's
well, there you go.
It's pretty cool because the Wizzo was the mission commander, so she and the pilot both got the silver star for all that. Which brings me to sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know you guys have been doing a lot more Vietnam era gaming. I'm sure there's a bunch of different aces we can do there.
Absolutely.
Put Robin Olds on one. He's awesome.
Robin Olds would be like 3 glasses. His just has an arrow. It says keep filling, keep pouring.
We can't do 4 glass sets for swag.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work.
All 4 of them.
Oh, right. The Lead Pursuit swag this year is a set of 20 glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a full dinner set.
We'll just give someone a decanter. That's easy. It's easier than that.
That's to you just have one of those at your booth. That's the Robin Olds glass.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Well, so there's a little bit of a challenge here. So before the podcast started, Don, who likes to bust my balls about the historical themes I pick, Don, what did you challenge me?
My challenge was to see if you could recommend one book to me that would make me, as I put it, give a shit about aerial combat in Vietnam. Because I do not. I don't care about it. I have zero interest in it. None.
It's like me with American Civil War. I'm like, oh, cool. Dudes in blue and dudes in gray.
Totally,
whatever.
Totally understand it. Totally understand it. And I gave the challenge because as early as 6 months ago, I did not care at all, not even one bit, about naval combat in World War I. I read one book. Now I care a lot about it. So
well, what book did you read for naval combat? So ruin my ability to stave off World War I naval combat.
The World War I naval combat book was called Castles of Steel.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and it was like a big picture, start of the war to the end of the war, all the different theaters, what was going on. It was a long book. It was like I listened to it on Audible. It was like 28 hours. So,
it is one of the better books on the naval campaigns of World War I. The gentleman that wrote it's probably one of the better experts. He wrote another book called Dreadnought, which actually starts in the middle of the 19th century, but he's trying to build up the political situation that caused the Dreadnought race to then explain how everything developed and got to the point of World War I.
Right. So that was for the naval combat.
It's really interesting.
Now, I make you the challenge. I trust your judgment on this, and I will give you a fair shake, regardless of my personal feelings.
That is your first mistake, is trusting my judgment. So here's my recommendation. And
all right, I'm getting a piece of paper here. I'm going to write this down.
I could even send you. I could send you a link.
Okay.
So my recommendation is Termite Hill by Tom Wilson. Now, there's a counter challenge here. I challenge you not just to see if you read this book and then are interested in the Vietnam Air War. I don't think you're going to be able to resist reading the other 2 books in the series, because Lucky's Bridge and Tango Uniform are the other 2. It is historically, operationally based semi-fiction. It's really based around the life of the author, because he was a F-105 Wild Weasel crew guy.
I don't like historical fiction much. I got to tell you.
Well, there ain't a whole about the only fiction is the Department of State girl, sleeping with him. But hey, it's got sex in it. It's got violence. It's got alcohol. You'll love it.
Well, all those
but
seem.
It's actually a good as much as I hate what I refer to from 40K bolter porn.
Yeah.
You know, I normally hate that kind of writing. This was actually pretty good because it is based in the history and it's not crazy exaggerated. It's not
Termite
Dick
Hill.
Marchenko writing SEAL Team 6.
Termite Hill?
It's not on Audible, Don.
Termite Hill.
H-I-L-L.
No, it's not. It's it is on Kindle Unlimited for $0.
Oh, it's not on Audible, eh?
It
Well,
is on
this is.
Kindle Unlimited.
I gave you the challenge. This is your suggestion. I am gonna get that book.
Yep. You should get that book. It's actually really good.
You know what?
I have not read any of his other series, but those three are good.
I go back to work tonight, so I might get that tonight, or I go back to work tomorrow. I might get that book tonight,
Well, there you go.
so I can read it.
So that's my recommendation. And there are a lot of other historical titles for once you decide you're actually interested in Vietnam area warfare.
And if you are successful, as I said, I will acknowledge your fame, and I will buy you a drink at Adepticon. And I'm happy to say it won't be a margarita.
But I just want to know, will you acknowledge my fame on the second best historical wargaming podcast, i.e. the Nerds of War?
Oh, absolutely. I would absolutely.
Will we have to wait till your next biannual
We just pulling out today. What are you talking about?
I know. That's why I'm teasing you.
Shut up.
But the only people who put out fewer episodes than us is the Nerds of War.
You're the only one who listens to it. So what good is it for me to?
I know. Yeah, exactly. Steve
fame?
and I are listeners number 2 and 3. So.
I could just do it in a phone call.
Yeah, you could. That's all right, though. I enjoy
We'll
it.
just
I
call
enjoy
you
it.
when you can listen to us.
That sounds like a great time.
All right.
All right. So let's hop into, because we've talked about Vietnam a little bit. Let's talk about other historical war game stuff, Mike, that you know you've got going on, because there's some big ticket stuff.
Yeah, so we'll talk about what the Nerds of War are running first, since that's us, so we can talk a lot about that. So we're coming in with 4 games this year. Our 2 big games, we're doing a large Flames war game themed around Operation Spring Awakening. This was basically Germany's last big offensive. It's in like the Hungary, Austria area against the Soviets. It went super poorly, but it's also
shocking.
Shocking, right? As I am really proud of the event descriptions I wrote this year, and I think you can track my sanity levels as I was writing them. And I'll get to that. But, I thought there was a couple good jokes in the Spring Awakening one. But super big, lots of Germans. We're going to have Hungarians even, Hungarian cavalry. Don's painted like 2 regiments of Soviet infantry.
So three regiments of infantry. Full regiments.
Nice.
And a full tank brigade.
Yeah. And I've also painted a tank brigade. And, it'll be a stupid amount of Flames of War. Our other big game is an Antietam one. We've ran Gettysburg the last couple of years. It's been really good, but you got to mix it up a little bit here and there. So we're still using epic Civil War models, still black powder as much as Don hates it. And we're that one we're really looking forward to. Won't have the really cool Gettysburg board. I also don't have to bring the really cool Gettysburg board that took up an entire car. And I already bought a new car just to have more storage space, so I wasn't going to buy yet another new car. That one, I actually spent most of the description calling Leah McClellan bad generals, but we're looking forward to that one.
No
Steve's
lies.
trying to figure out why Antietam is in Mississippi and why Lee was down fighting there. So.
I guess we can look forward to seeing both of you in that game, huh? That Civil War, being the buffs
I think
that you
I have
are.
to wash my hair. I think.
Yeah.
Man, you and every other girl I've tried to date.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a long litany of excuses to get out of an American Civil War game.
Luckily, we will be right next to you this year, so
That'll actually be good. I did laugh that last year we were split with the bolt action guys between us, which meant we couldn't really heckle each other as we had previously when you guys were right across from us. So I'm glad that we're going to be close together.
I am too. Like especially last year, which while fun, also just felt kind of off. Might blame the food poisoning, but
yeah, might have been.
I'm happier that's like cool. We're all in one venue. I can actually see all my friends that aren't playing historicals. May have laid some stuff out so I could be around the other friends I like that are playing historical. So I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Well, I think it's going to be nice. You guys have really, rolled out the red carpet for us, and we've got a dedicated podcast area there.
Oh, you're fancy now.
So I know. Well, I'm just hoping that we have velvet ropes to keep the riffraff out.
I actually have velvet ropes. But we're also running 2 naval games. I love naval games. Like, as much as you love air games, I love naval games. So we're doing 2 about World War I. So Don and I got back from the UK. We went in October. And we went to go see HMS Belfast. So I was on. I'm like, well, we got to run a game involving HMS Belfast, which, while a super cool ship and nice, basically didn't fight any naval battles.
Well, I was like, so I'm trying to remember an engagement. I'm like, I can't. But
it
that's
fought
all right.
in 1.
Okay.
So
well,
we're running
there we
that
go.
one.
No.
But it wasn't a fun battle. Like, it's perfectly fun for the British who get to beat up on a German ship. It won't be that fun for the Germans. So I'm writing it as a little more of a, hey, learn to play Victory at Sea. I'll play the Germans, and just make sure we have a good time.
Yeah.
The other one is when my sanity was finally gone, and
Yes.
we wanted to. Several years ago, we did a War Plan Orange game, which was the Rainbow plan for the U.S. to attack Japan, not attack Japan, but defend against Japan in the Pacific, developed in the 30s. So we ran it with, like the 1940 battleship. So, your Arizonas, New Mexico's, all that versus Japanese battle line. Good battle. We cut out a lot of pretty much all the smaller ships and just focus on the battleships. That way, each player's not moving like 20 things around. Keep it a little more focused and a little more relevant. The problem was it wasn't that balanced because the American ships were just better. So, and that's one of the things with historicals. Like, yes, we can do stuff historically accurate, but I want everyone to have a really good time in this. That's not just there to like, oh, cool, I'm going to reenact history. And yeah, we lose the Alamo, but it was cool. It's like, no, let's all have fun and try to get something relatively balanced. So, I don't know, a few drinks in, I came up with this scenario where the British would ally with Japan and try to fight the Americans because Roosevelt spilled wine on the Queen Mother, and then we threw tea in a harbor, and
it's always tea in a harbor. It's all like, screw you, Brits.
Well, you can't avoid it. So, but anyway, let me shove British ships in there, which kind of balanced some stuff out.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that one, and that one I'm just running myself while everyone else runs the Spring Awakening game. So
nice.
Yeah, I do have to give a shout out for one of the things that I think makes historicals really unique is, like, I have no interest in naval warfare, right? But I think it's super cool when you go to historicals, like you said. So, like, how we feel about aerial stuff, there's somebody that feels that way about naval stuff. There's somebody that feels that way about pirate stuff. There's somebody that feels that way about, Boer Wars, infantry battles, right? There's always, like, super interest groups that like do these games, and it's really cool to get all that passion and all that creativity going to these like wide variety of games in the historicals venue. I think that's really neat.
Well, and if you go to talk to them, they're happy to share their passion with you, which I think makes it interesting. And then, it's kind of nice for, like Don's talking about, he didn't have a whole lot of interest in World War I naval. If he didn't read that book, maybe he saw a game. Lord knows we've picked up more than enough games because we saw someone playing it. It looked cool. Blood Red Skies.
And that's my problem. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's my problem is there's a lot of games that I really don't have a lot of interest in, but you see someone play it and you go, oh, that looks really cool.
Right.
No.
So that's what we're running. We're pretty happy with that slate. Every year I try to find something interesting, put a different spin on it. One thing we're trying this year is, in previous years, we've ran a lot of different games.
Right.
The downside about that is, so you bring all these models, all this terrain. Luckily, Blood Red Skies doesn't have a lot of terrain. Here it is, naval battles. That's why.
Thank goodness.
I'll bring all this winter terrain for one game. And then I'll also bring city terrain and this terrain and that terrain. So this year, we're running less overall games, but then just running the games themselves a couple times.
Right.
So it's like, cool, I'll have this table for 10 hours, set it up once, run the game twice, way more efficient with space, models, everything. So this is our test of that, trying to find efficiencies and running games. games.
And not have to bring 17 different table sets of
I mean, I
stuff.
already had to get a Ford Explorer to fit everything. I do not need to go up a level.
No excursion.
Those are gigantic.
Where you going to park that in Milwaukee? Yeah, exactly.
Right? You can't.
Yeah, there's just nowhere. Well, let's talk real quick about the Lead Pursuit events, and then let's cover some of the other big ones that are out there. So I will tease my good buddy Pat Doyle. I thought my schedule was set. I thought I knew what all we were doing, and then he's like, "Hey, man, what about Adepticon events? When are we going to submit those?" And I'm like, "Bro, you're already late." But yeah, exactly. So we had some last minute ads, shoehorned a couple of his events in. So thanks, Pat, for at least being accommodating in the sense of when we said, no, that's going to compete with the Blood Red Skies tournament. We will not be hosting your event. But we're going to start off Thursday. The first thing is he's going to demo Star Force Commander as he always does.
Sure.
And he's also demoing Squadron Commander. So if you know anything about the history of Mariner games, years ago, there used to be Squadron Commander 3600, a kind of a space fighter game. That's kind of coming back. So he's going to demo the work in progress of the Squadron Commander game. But those will be at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Thursdays and Fridays. And then getting away from all the sci-fi stuff to the cool historical stuff, we will start at noon on Thursday with Steve and Evan and their Ogaden War. Steve, you want to say anything cool about that missile threat game you guys are doing?
Oh man, it's gonna be awesome. We took the missile threat rules and kind of one of the key things about missile threat is the flight plan stage. If you know anything about that, but it can kind of bog down the start of the game. So we kind of gave people like 3 or 4 basically pre-planned flight plans that they can choose from, and some other streamlined things to the missile threat rules. Plus the jets for Ogaden War just look freaking awesome.
Yeah,
like
they look
desert
cool.
Painted F5s and MiG-21s.
Evan's done a great job.
I'm really
on those
excited.
jets.
It's going to be a fun game. And it's always cool to add another aerial game to kind of the repertoire, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see Missile Threat. That's something
Yeah,
I've started.
same here.
I picked up the rules. I picked up some models. So I'm really excited to check that out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun. I liked playing it. It plays very different than Blood Red Skies, but also plays very different than a lot of the other games that are out there that are super crunchy. It's got things to simulate maneuver, to simulate energy addition, but you're not doing all this crazy tracking of stuff and pre-plotted movement and
Nice.
junk like that. So it's
Steve,
pretty
what
cool.
what's the scenario for Missile Threat? What countries are fighting?
Oh man, I'm gonna mess this up. It's Somalia and
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
Yeah, come on, man. You know you can't ask me those I'm the
It's a historical question.
Man,
He's
I'm
like,
the
I don't know.
It's two powerhouses of air combat.
Exactly.
Slugging it out
is,
toe to toe with their plane.
I'm the hype man. I'm not the the brains behind.
You're not the
this. Come
details guy. Well, the models look beautiful. They're 1/200 scale, so they're on Blood Red Sky stands right now. But Steve, I'm sure you're going to use your magnetic altitude stands to run those. Yeah, that will be cool.
Yeah, we're gonna use those. It's gonna look awesome, and it is a historical game, right? We picked this conflict because I was really pushing for like Iron Eagle scenario. So be happy that we do fall into historicals with the missile threat.
Yeah.
Game, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, right after that at 4 p.m., we're going to do Blood Red Skies Vietnam. So at this point, after Don is through reading his series of Vietnam books and thoroughly fascinated by the Vietnam aerial war, Don will be over there playing, Beyond Mig Alley,
You never
Vietnam
know.
era stuff with us there. You never know.
It's possible.
And we'll have options for everybody. Once again, beyond Mig Alley, we can do everything from Indo-Pac to Vietnam to whatever. But we have now broken down Vietnam into Rolling Thunder and Linebacker. So we did both those scenarios at Fall In, and they were a heck of a lot of fun. The rules have expanded. We've got SAMs. We've got anti-radiation missiles to suppress SAMs. All kinds of cool stuff. So
That's really
come check
cool.
that one out. It'll be fun. And it plays fast, which is the nice thing. It's fast and it is brutal. So make sure you always have somebody watching your 6 o'clock, so you don't get rolled in on by a MiG. All right. So Friday, 10 a.m., we talked about it a little bit earlier. Blood Red Skies Malta. That'll be fun on a big 4x8 mat or larger.
Yeah.
We can always throw the ocean mat on top of if we need to add more guys. But we'll play a big Malta game for probably about 4 hours and see if we can get anybody through to the targets.
I'll be ready. I'm gonna.
It'll be fun.
I'm gonna
I think it's
rule
always
that
gonna be
game
good.
with a fist of iron.
You should. You know,
I will.
I always use the example of playing Aerodrome with Mark Wukas as the GM, where he'll be like, "Stop! Everyone, stop talking!
Yeah,
listen to me.
Yeah, that's me.
This is who's going next.
I have a riding crop that I can smack against
exactly.
like.
We'll get you like a dowel rod or something. You can
a question: do you think it will help me or hurt me to actually read the rules?
Oh, that will totally hurt you.
I have the rules.
Just because Blood Red Skies is a war game does not mean that you should not be the game master and just totally house rule whatever you want to have happen.
Okay,
so, yeah,
that's actually. I'll just
we've
make
been
it up
doing
on
that
the
for the
fly.
last 4 years, so it's fine.
That's historical wargaming most of the time anyway. So
yes,
people who are chained to the rules usually.
This is already my kind of game.
Yeah, exactly. That evening, then, so when you're done with that, about 4 hours later, we will kick off the BRS Furball. So it'll be a lot of craziness, a lot of people trying to shoot each other down, hopefully some alcohol, as we all have kind of a social event to hopefully bring in some new Blood Red Skies players and hang out with people we haven't seen for a year and have a good time shooting each other down.
How many times have you done
crazy shit happen?
How many times have you done the Furball now? Is this the 2 times now?
This will be the third. Yeah, we did twice. Yes,
that's been the third. I haven't always been there, but it looks extremely popular. Like there's always a lot of people.
It is surprisingly popular for as simple and straightforward as it is, and a historical in a sense because it's a bunch of different kinds of airplanes shooting each other down. No. We still got same super planes. We haven't. We need to. Yeah, Steve's thinking. You got the 3D modeler thinking. He's like, what can I do to be an even crazier super
Make it
plane?
A crazy Zeppelin, or like a crazy airship.
Well, I was gonna float some crazy derivative of the Japanese 4-engine bomber.
Yeah,
because we've had the American twin-tailed B-17 with the P-38 stuck behind it as the tail guns. I think there's some craziness that we can go out there with a 5-engine Japanese bomber.
Stack them one on top of the other.
Yeah, exactly. A vertical twin-tailed bomber. You're going to get Steve thinking. Steve's going to stop paying attention to us and just start
He's
modeling.
drawn already.
He's like, what's the weirdest thing I can find out there? All right, so Saturday, the Blood Red Skies tournament, no shit, obviously. And that'll run from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.-ish. Then we will quickly put on our Aeronautica Imperialis hats and play a non-historical game and play with little Space Marines and do that and do a little Aeronautica. What I can say is there's some new scenarios this year, courtesy of our gaming group here in Huntsville. They've gone through and they've play tested some new scenarios for us, which I really should say I made them my victims and I tried new, more evil scenarios on them. But there's some cool stuff that we can do for Aeronautica to change things up and to give you some things that aren't just a canned dogfight, but with AI miniatures. And then Sunday, as usual, is kind of open. I know John Russell's going to do another big MiG Alley, so he's going to do the 172nd scale models and do MiG Alley, and we'll help him out with that. But his guys are going to run it this year and kind of get Warlord back into doing some of the Blood Red Skies events alongside us. And I think he's also going to try to fit in. I didn't see it on the schedule, but it might have made it a 172nd Blood Red Skies Battle of Britain one. Again,
that looked really cool last year, but. That was,
it does. We gave him so much shit for how tall the chain home towers are, because when they're 172nd scale, they're like halfway to the ceiling. But it still is cool. I tease them about 172nd scale, but the bigger airplanes sometimes are fun, even if it feels a little bit weird when they're shooting. So.
Yeah.
Well, we could just play it in the lobby or something on the floor,
Yeah, just double the movement. We've talked about that.
I mean, he just said we got 40,000 square feet, man. Let's
exactly. My God, man, we're not short of anything.
We could almost play Harpoon.
Oh yeah, exactly. We could do harpoon at 1-to-1 like everyone did. But yeah, we ought to play it on the floor at double the movement rates and everything else. So just roll out big green mats. All right. Well, what else, Mike, is on the schedule that you saw that's big ticket stuff people will care about? I mean, I know there's going to be a couple different tournaments for some of the major historical systems, but what all is going on?
So we've partially us, also the Battle Badgers, which is a Wisconsin, Milwaukee group. Battlefront is still working with us for the Flames of War and Team Yankee events, but we're going to have kind of our people run them. They're going to still supply the tables. And I know they've been kind of letting someone else do it for the last couple of years, so we're taking that over. So, still a Flames of War Late War Nationals, still a Team Yankee Nationals. Big thing we're adding as kind of a twist is instead of doing a 2-day nationals, because I feel like a lot of people's like, yeah, I'll play like 3 games and be happy, maybe 4, but do I ever want to play like 6 games over 2 days?
Right.
That's a lot. We're doing a Team Yankee team tournament this year.
Nice.
So, expand to that, see how people like that. We're excited because, it should be a little bit more fun. You get to play with a buddy instead of, by yourself.
Right.
And Adepticon's kind of, team events are a big thing that we do there. So it'll be nice to get that a little more into the historical space. The bold action guys.
Well, I was going to say, I think one of the cool things about Adepticon, at least when I was doing the Heresy and 40K, is there was always the standard tournament fare, and then there was kind of either side of it. There were the small, like Zone Mortalis or 500-point kind of 30K, 40K games. And then there were doubles games. There were team ones that were more than just a single game. So it was kind of a couple rounds of doubles. And that really made it fun because you could show up with small armies. You could show up with your friends. You weren't just stuck in the litany of standard tournament fare.
You're not just going to functionally the same tournament you've went to 4 other times in a year or something. It's it's good to have some variety. And the funny part is you would think, okay, you go to that. Well, now my audience is being split 3 ways and none of them will be attended. Yeah, they'll all sell out.
Yeah.
If people just come out of the woodwork and be like, oh, I'll play in this random thing.
Yep.
It's great. Other events, Bold Action's back. We'll have the Combat Patrol. We'll have the team event. Keep that going. They do a great job there. The Firelock games are back, in our historical area. And, I'm looking kind of at like a preliminary list here. They have a ton of events there. Like I can see 15 or 16 different Blood and Wonder events.
They have a ton of game systems now. So.
Yes. I will bet you that probably Firelock games are close to a quarter of the overall events this year. But what I like about it is, if you want to play a tournament, here's a tournament. If you want to have a learn to play demo, there's tons of those. If you want to play in a cool scenario, there's that. So like you said, there's that level of variety that people want, and every need is borderline carried to.
Right. Nice.
Carried to there. Saga's back with their slated tournaments. They will also be hanging out with us this year instead of in their own little room. HMGS Midwest is, I always get mixed up. It's like Great Lakes, Midwest, East. But no, HMGS Midwest is back this year. They have a whole variety of events, and the nice thing about them is you kind of never know what you're going to get with that. Like I'm looking here, there's an Ancients naval battle, there's like steampunk sci-fi Victorian era stuff. So it's Dead Man's Hand. It's like you get a whole nice variety of the games we're running, which once again, people want to try different things.
And here's a question, and I don't know what the truth behind it is, because obviously we go hang out with the HMGS guys for Fall In and for Historicon. But I always wonder, when they show up to Adepticon, do they play games they don't normally play in their HMGS routines because they're, less historical or more freeform, or has HMGS the audience of the games that they host, has it really changed? Because I think when we've seen at Historicon and Fall In, there's a lot of stuff that's out there that's not super historical that they're playing, but it's because people are having fun and it's their gaming group is there.
Right.
And so their gaming group wants to play some cool historical things, and then we'll play Dead Man's Hand, Yeah,
let's see. I'm pulling up here. Yeah, Ancient Navals, Dead Man Hand, Fires in the Sky, a bunch of Pulp Alley, Savage Skies, 6-shooters, Sky Galleon of Mars. That sounds awesome.
I like that one. I'm gonna have to go watch that because I am a shoe. I love that.
He's running
game.
it 4 times too. So.
Oh, nice. I might actually be able to get a seat.
Yeah. So, like I said, super happy. We have a good partnership with them, and like I said, they've been each year they show up stronger. So
yeah,
glad to keep that going. Lord America's back. They're running a whole bunch of Sharps practice, Chain of Command.
Yep.
They're gonna have some of that new Midgard game.
Yep.
So and they always put on beautiful looking games. Back to HMGS, John Lundberg is coming from HMGS East Coast.
Yes.
He's running like 5 games.
Yeah, John's a good dude. He's a really, really good dude.
Let's see. David of the Wargaming Company, he's running a bunch of ESR demos of his version 3.
Yep.
We already talked about Warlord. Steve Fratt's going to be back. He's the guy running the gigantic Waterloo game.
Yep. I figured that was him as soon as you mentioned it.
All like 100 feet of, he has, I think, 3,500 models. I am looking.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're like, Steve Fratt, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yep. If anyone's going to do it, he'd be the guy to do it. Yep. Not surprised at all.
And it'll look great. So yep. I'm looking forward to just seeing how he sets it to battle. He sent me a couple pictures because he told me it's big enough that he can't set it all up at his house.
Right.
So, but as kind of like a high level summary, it's going to be all the stuff we've had year in, year out that's been successful is still going to be there, and then just a nice variety of different event games. Like, I don't really know a game system that isn't having some kind of game being run there that's vaguely mainstream historical.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure we can dig in and find something, but
and I'll say that there's a lot of change going on in the non-historical. So because there's more space, there are some people that are expanding their offerings and playing larger Space Hulk games more often. Space Hulk. There's guys that are doing more Adeptus Titanicus stuff.
There's going to be 28 millimeter Adeptus Titanicus.
Yeah. Yes. I was so excited to hear when everyone was talking about that last weekend. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff because there's now room to really do it. So take the time and walk around. I always say this. I feel like I have to say it more to historical war gamers because we tend to be insular and not want to go, play little Space Marine games.
I really don't want to socialize.
We probably all play the games anyway. Just no one wants to admit it. But go see what everyone else is doing and go see what Marvel Crisis Protocol is playing. Because I'm sure Don's going to take all of his freshly painted MCP miniatures and go play. Right?
He's painted so many of them.
Oh, you guys are still talking. Jeez, sorry.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's still painting his 4 regiments of Soviet infantry. So
yeah. No time for MCP.
Yeah, no, I love MCP. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I just don't have time to paint the models right now. But I'll play.
I need to set time aside.
Yeah, we got really big into that, and it's honestly, it's a great game. Like,
if you guys were to set up a grudge match of that, I'd paint the stuff. I would paint stuff for that. Because I wouldn't want to beat you with unpainted models. He's got to dare
me like that. So I would love to do that on Sunday. I love MCP. MCP is a lot of fun, but I am.
Oh, and actually, we're not doing much on Sunday.
We'll talk after this.
See, there you go. Yeah, we'll have to talk because I've only got 3 MCP painted, so I need. Well, you bring more to go.
You bring your little posse, and and we'll see what's up.
Oh, yeah. We might have to do that. Well, and before I forget, hobby stuff has expanded as well. So now instead of it just being us, the crazy historical guys running airbrush classes, there's now like a dedicated airbrush room for hobby and stuff like that. So it sounds like a lot more classes going on. I know Chris will be back teaching 2 of his airbrush classes, so that'll be cool to see. But there's a lot more hobby, and listening to everyone talk in the meetings, it's been cool to see how that's going to still be facilitated in the new venue.
Yeah, I want to say we've doubled the space of Fort Wapple.
Yeah, nice.
Which, if someone's not familiar with that, that's the Funky Hobby Hangout area. There's paint, there's brushes. and people just hang out and paint all weekend. And then, oh, look, that's one of the top painters in the world. Yeah, he'll just come and hang out and paint some stuff and help people and BS with you. Like it's a really great thing that they've built over there over the years. And, you know, I'm happy that we're able to get more space for it, because that place would fill up pretty quickly and people just hang out there all day.
Yeah.
Open gaming is also something that's, I want to say, doubled in size as well. And, you know, they probably had 30 tables last year, and they'll be free. They'll be packed almost the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Like they're even setting up some like dedicated streamer areas. Like, okay, if you want to come and set up some streaming stuff, here are some tables that have a little more space, have power.
Yeah, exactly.
Not 100% sure on that, but it was talked about.
That's cool.
Once again, we have space to accommodate that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's the good and the bad thing about growing the venue and going to a new, larger venue is you always expand to fill the space that you're given.
Yes.
So you'll come up with cool things to do with all that. So.
No, absolutely. And, you know, we're going to have the app back again, which will help direct people around. First year, I think people are going to have, you know, maybe a little bit of trouble. Just, you'll got to get used to a new venue where everything is. Having toured it once, all the main halls are pretty easy to find.
Right.
At the same time, there's, I don't know, 30, 40 breakout rooms. You know, navigating through that, you'll learn, but there's guides, there'll be the app, a lot of stuff. So, you know, I think you're right. Hey, block off some time just to walk around, check stuff out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially because it's a totally new venue, so you're going to have to get used to where everything is.
There's a waterfall.
So take the time. Oh, there is. It's going to be so peaceful. I can go out there and Don and I can hang out and have a coffee together and just, you know spend some quality time.
It'll be romantic.
And we won't talk about American Civil War.
No.
We'll talk airplanes, Don.
I'd like that.
Bore you with airplane talk.
I would like that. The funny thing is, I was telling Mike, we'd recap of last year, and I said I felt bad because we didn't really get to see you guys, or like, Mike Lewis. We didn't because there was so much stuff that was just popping up that we had to take care of. It was
you guys were busy just handling.
It wasn't
the event because so many last minute changes came in, and
it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just things popping up. So I'm looking forward to us all being in the same place and being able to sit and talk to guys. That's what I'm. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Not having to deal with all that stuff this year.
Mike's like, it's suddenly not my problem. This is great to be back in the main venue.
Right.
And now I'm
Mike Lewis, he's running Octone Panzer this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he doing it in 28 mil or 15?
I am assuming 28. I do not know the tournament. I'm definitely assuming it's 28 because that's just normal.
We'll see. I keep playing it 15 and I love it in 15. So
I've heard it's very good.
Wargaming has the tanks already in 15.
Yeah. See, there you go. Economy of gaming. You know, don't think you have to redo more.
I heard the ranges feel better at 15 millimeter.
It does. It's I don't know. We can be cynical all we want. There obviously is a point that, Warlord is a 28 mil company. They have 28 mil lines. They want to sell 28 mil stuff. So obviously they're going to build a game in 28 mil. I think in the same way that Team Yankee feels better in 6 mil or 1/285th.
I was just thinking that.
Octoon Panzer feels better in 15 mil. It's just
no
just one of those
cynicism at all. It was written for 15 millimeter. Like the game was written for 15 millimeter tanks.
Yeah, that's exactly what they played in. They played it all in 15 mil. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
But hey, that's the nice thing about it. If you want to use 15, use 15. If you want to use 28, if we need to get, like we talked about, the 50, 60, 70 millimeter tanks and clear off some floor space, we'll figure it out.
Sounds like a great idea. No, it's a terrible idea.
It's horrific.
We need 1/16th scale tanks that are remote controlled. That's what we need to start investing in. Yeah. I've already watched way too many YouTube videos of the guys that have the tank recovery vehicles and everything else that go along with their 1/16th scale tanks. So yeah. All right. Well, anything else you guys, Mike, Don, that you want to cover about Adepticon itself? I mean, we're excited. We know there's a lot more that we could spend hours talking about all the different games and things that are going to go on, and the vendors and the hobby classes. There's a lot to touch on here. Did we decide when preview cart comes up? Question mark.
It's within a week of today is the 11th. So
Yeah,
we're
so
recording
today's
this
the
on
11th
December
sometime.
11th
Yeah,
for the next
exactly.
hour. It's within the week. I want to say the 16th is the day we are planning
That's what I
currently.
think as well. Yeah, I think it's the 16th.
Obviously some stuff might change. And even once the preview launches, we're still going to add some stuff as it comes in. I know you mentioned vendors. The vendor hall has, I don't want to say grown considerably, but there will be new vendors this year, like a very decent amount of them.
I'm not going to spend any money in the vendor hall because I'm spending it all on parking.
You can't.
Sorry, I had to say that with a straight face.
And if you live in Chicago, you have to get a hotel now. So
yeah, exactly. So,
You're broke.
it's one of those things. There's costs to having fun, and I'm just going to have to budget this all properly. This is gonna
Exactly.
hurt.
I keep telling myself I'm not going to spend that much this year, and honestly, I just hope it stays with one comma.
I was good last year. I did not get crushed in the vendor hall, and I didn't go to Games Plus afterwards either. So
That's dangerous.
Last year might have only been the only cheap year that there is at Adepticon, because between Games Plus and the vendor hall, I can spend too
Games
much money.
Plus is such a nice store.
Oh God, it is. They're cool people. They're great to work with, and it's just I can
All those hex encounter games, man.
Exactly for
I
grognards
just-
like
I
me,
just can't-
crunchy hex encounter people.
I just can't get over it.
I'm a
quick,
dusty old hex encounter guy,
Yeah. Quick question. That's Termite Hill by Tom Wilson?
Yes.
Okay. I just bought that, so I'm hoping that's the one.
That is the one.
It's $3 on Kindle or free with the Kindle Limited.
Yeah. It wasn't.
I am such a hex encounter guy. This is where D&D and hex encounter cross over. I bought Burning Banners, which is a fantasy hex encounter grognardy game. So I got to break that out and start playing that. But
I'll have to look at that. I just
old
picked that.
school gaming.
I picked up that one that Mitch suggested, that Gettysburg game, Most Fearful Sacrifice.
I've heard really good things about Most Fearful Sacrifice.
It's really
I'm
good.
an ACW guy, but I've heard a lot of good things about
And
it.
you can commit a murder with the box because it weighs like 10 pounds. There's so
That's
much
the way
stuff.
Burning Banners is. I mean,
There's so
I
much
laugh
stuff
at
in that
how
box.
heavy Burning Banners is. I'm like, oh my God, how many freaking counters do they put in this box?
And it's
a ton.
cardboard.
Yeah, well, it is the same weight as my D&D 50th anniversary. The making of D&D.
Oh, that's a cool
freaking
book.
Bible over there. Yeah, I just picked it up. It's my Christmas present to myself, sitting on my Star Trek Christmas tree.
We had
Nerds unite.
one of the local stores. Speaking of Christmas trees, I do have a Star Trek Hallmark keepsake tree that I'll be setting up sometime the next week.
That's
that
exactly
I got
what
the
mine is.
Enterprise tree topper and all that stuff. So
See, I didn't go for that. I didn't nerd out that far. I didn't really like the tree topper.
it was
so
a
I skipped
housewarming
that.
gift for my parents.
I could
when
just see you,
I bought a
Doug,
house.
just leaping around in the woods, LARPing, lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
With his
I
freaking
do not LARP.
Star Trek
He
lightsaber and
role
all that
plays.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's a couple LARP groups in Huntsville, but I do not LARP. They're different. They're,
More power to them. I don't get it, but have fun.
God bless 'em.
Not my
Though,
gig.
as
but
I
that's
get
all right.
older, I keep looking at reenacting. So what do I know?
Oh God, you're one of those
That's-
guys that are like, I would
that's
love to
real
dress
money.
up and be miserable and sleep outside.
See,
and,
that's the part. I'm like, okay, the uniform looks cool. I'd love to talk to people about that. What do you mean I have to be outside in the heat and sleep outside? You're telling
Exactly.
me my tent doesn't have air conditioning? Yeah, go to
you
hell.
want to be a National Park Service guide. You do not want to be a reenactor. There's a difference.
Yeah, but like not in an area where it's hot. So
He'd have to
in
talk to
very
people.
narrow circumstances.
He'd have to
Is there
talk
a
to
Be a
word?
people.
museum docent.
Is there a word like glamping for the equivalent of reenacting?
I have
Like, what is
seen.
the equivalent?
It's
So
probably being
at-
like a drone pilot reenactor.
Yeah. Well, no, I've seen at not Mid-Atlantic Military Aviation Museum in Virginia Beach. Some of the people that do the reenacting and stay out there, their camp setup is nice and it is fancy. And it looks authentic from the outside, but they've got their, electric cooler in there that's keeping their beer cold and their
That's how
fans
real
blowing on
men
them and everything else.
camping.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Well, anyway, Awesome as always to talk to you guys. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on and chat about Adepticon.
Always a
'cause
blast, Doug.
we have a ton of fun coming up and hanging out with you guys, and we'll be back there again in 2025 and run a bunch of games and see what trouble we can get into. Steve, anything else you want to throw out on your end?
Do you have 2026 planned out already?
I don't, because I have a couple. There's a couple cool things that Lead Pursuit and Mariner Games have in store for 2026. So we'll have to see. We'll be there, but it may change what we do a little bit. So some more Aero Wargaming shenanigans, shall we say.
Yeah, I'm just psyched to be talking about Adepticon, man. This is Adepticon is like my Christmas. I love it. So I'm just like, I'm so psyched that we're back talking about it.
It can't be your Christmas because I put you to work and you don't even have Blaze to do all your work for you. So it's not like you bring your daughter and she does all the work and you just can sit there and be the streamer.
It's my Christmas set. I'm like Santa Claus and I'm like getting everything ready and then I load it all up in my suitcase and fly out to, wherever.
You do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you dump this big bag of streaming poop everywhere so that we can set it up. No, it'll be good. It should be a good time.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. As usual, I'll remind everyone to please like and share the podcast, review it, say how terrible we are, that we're the worst historical gaming podcasters on the interweb.
Seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Absolutely. You guys are terrible. You're horrible.
Hey, you're the second worst podcast. We still have the number one worst podcast.
Oh, you guys are the number one worst? Damn it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be the number one worst podcast. Don,
we started saying keep climbing for advantage, so.
Yeah.
Well, just steal ours, please, because we have no tagline to go out with, because I can't say keep clap. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it. I
think in the last one I used like 4 taglines, and I just said, please come up with a tagline for us.
Yeah, please invent one for us, because we just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, it's good to talk to you. Look forward to seeing you here in a couple months.
Great.
In lovely Milwaukee instead of Schaumburg. And we're always happy to see
get murdered.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I have Steve with me. He's a jiu-jitsu super freak, so he'll keep me safe. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks for having us. I love listening to your podcast, man. I love listening to you guys rag on grognards because it's so your complete lack of self-awareness is like breathtaking. Because to sit and listen to you fuckers talk about blood red skies and how if I play this and then he does this and it's just,
he says self-awareness. He just is trying to game shame us. I see how it is. If we were talking about Napoleonics or American Civil War
I'm
that way.
actually really upset because I just found out this week that technically American Civil War can be considered Napoleonics. I feel like I've been lying to myself forever. I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, I'm not a Napoleonics player. You realize it's the same period.
Not really sure how that could happen since it came 45 years after the last Napoleonic War. I don't game shame you, Doug, but I will say this: I am terrible. I don't do any impressions of people, but my impression of you playing Blood Red Skies is absolute gold. It's perfect.
Well, then you should put it on YouTube and you should make a lot of money.
No, because I would feel wrong making money off of humiliating you.
No, you wouldn't.
That's not okay.
No, you wouldn't. Oh.